I want to talk about singers. Um, I just remember in the early, I just remember hearing music when I was younger and coming up in the 60s, 70s, 80s, 90s, whatever. And I just remember hearing a lot of music. I grew up on music. Um, and um, 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 I grew up on Motown's R&B music, some gospel, but it was um, and so it was a lot of music played around in the house. I didn't really. I think we heard Motown, but I think Motown was. I think it was just like the Four Tops or the Temptations. Maybe you could throw some Smokey Robinson in there and stuff like that. But it was. Um, uh, uh, um, uh, um, I think that um, the Supremes, I think we probably heard that just a little bit. It wasn't because we listen to a lot of R&B music. It was, I think the Supremes are more like, I think they are like, I think the Motown music, I think it probably wasn't really, I think the Temptations were the soul, I mean R&B soul. But I don't remember like if you look at some of this the Smokey Robinson, I think if you look at if you listen to some of that you'll see R&B soul, but I don't think Motown was really R&B really at all. I think if you listen to like the Supremes, the Marvelettes, and all of them, I think that some of them had some soul music in there, but I think it was more pop music. I think it was more that pop music. It was more talking in rhythm songs. I think it was like more like that. I don't think it was like really R&B soul. I think it was some of it in there, but I don't think really think it was R&B soul. And I think because uh, um, um, based on I think I think Mary did talk about that they had to get the Temptations to drag the Supremes over to Black America because they was not. I didn't really hear. I didn't really hear the Supremes really in the house. I didn't really grow up on. I mean, I heard it on probably radio stations. Probably I think most of the Motown stuff I heard like the Four Tops, the Temptations, and stuff like that. But maybe some Smokey Robinson and stuff like that. But other than that, I didn't. We didn't really hear the like the Supremes, the Marvelettes. I heard it outdoors, I heard it outdoors. I didn't hear it in the house. And so I don't remember a lot of the Diana Ross and Supremes and the Marvelettes and all that. I didn't grow up on that. Um, and I was more singing like the R&B stuff. You heard a lot of Aretha, like that. You heard Aretha. You heard Al Green and who else? Singers like Linda Jones and all of them. And then fast forward to the 70s, you heard, Phyllis Hyman and all Phyllis Hyman, Natalie Cole, Patti LaBelle's, and Dionne Warwick, Denise Williams, and I think when the 70s rolled around, I was first introduced to Natalie Cole. She was the one that stood out, like that caught my attention. I remember going to someone's house and hearing him play her, and I think she caught my attention very quickly, and and I was like, man, and because he had a good sound system, you heard that voice of hers, you heard Inseparable, and stuff like that, and I was like, man, what a great voice. I mean, not only did she have a great voice, his sound system was great too, and this is where I get introduced to singing. This is where this is where I started to sing. I was It was something about her that caught my attention with singing, and I listened to her and stuff like that, and I think here's where, when the 70s start to roll around, this is where you start to hear the other singers that were out, Phyllis Hyman, Patti LaBelle, let me see, Ruth is Shaka Khan, you started to hear them, and then again, there wasn't, I'm gonna go along as I I'm gonna go along as I came in contact with a lot of music or whatever. And so the 80s started to roll around. I mean, and you heard Teddy Pendergrass. I mean, 70s, the Teddy Pendergrass, the Isley Brothers, Smokey Robinson, Peabo Bryson, and Jeffrey Osborne, and all of them started to roll. And this is where I started to hear other singers and stuff like that. And then when the 80s came around, here's where of course the Jackson 5 was down somewhere in there, and then in the 60s or whatever, early 70s or whatever, and when the 80s rolled around, here's where you hear all types of music. I mean, like really all types. I really didn't understand the types. Like I understood like R&B music, but here's where the other type music start to roll. With Michael Jackson, I think Michael Jackson again, he switched from You know, Jackson 5, you know, I think, again, I think Motown was more like the poppity pop stuff. Some R&B in there, but more poppity pop stuff. But here is where Michael Jackson went solo. And then he started, you know, doing the pop music. You know, I think he threw a couple R&B songs up in there, but he mainly went pop. And again, I think the Lionel Richies and Commodores, and then he switched over to pop, and stuff like that. This is where in the 80s, you heard Madonna and all kinds of group, Pat Benatar, again Barbara Streisand, and you know, here's where I get to hear all types, all types of music, you know, and stuff, with singers, all types of music with singers, white, black, it didn't matter. I think in the early 80s, I did hear some Hispanic music, but it wasn't like a lot of that, but I did hear that. But in the 80s, I think here is where all types of music again rolls in. You're talking about R&B, pop, rap, and this is where you get really introduced to all different types. It didn't matter. Michael Bolton, Rod Stewart, Madonna. I mean, all types, all types, and I liked it at all. Like, I liked it at all. You know, all types, the all types. And you know, because the 80s, I think that's when I got to see all types of music, with whites, and stuff like that. I welcome them all. It didn't matter, male or female. When it came to you know, Elvis, again Rod Stewart, Michael Bolton, Phil Collins, you know, Genesis, all of that. That's where I started to be introduced to all of that. The rock, it was the R&B, pop, the rock music, and blues. And let's not forget that Muddy Waters, and you kind of got introduced to all of that. This is where it starts to, all the types of music that you hear from these singers start to roll in. And I remember starting to sing at that point. It was early in this, it was really the 70s, but when the 80s rolled around, this is where I got to see all types of music. And I was like, I was like really loving it, man, because you know, it was like all types, and I really liked it. That it didn't matter because I was never racist. I liked it all race. I like all races, Hispanic, Chinese, whites. It didn't matter, and I was never raised like that. So so I welcome it all. Like, and you know, and as the 90s start rolling, and again Tina Marie, 80s Tina Marie, you know, this is where Whitney and all of them start rolling, and Mary J. Blige, and 90s stuff, and all of this stuff. Right, but I noticed that there was music that I was not introduced to, and there was like a whole like there were a lot of singers that I wasn't introduced to, and that was, I think that was more so some blues and a jazz and some gospel. And I think when the I think when the 2000s started to roll around, or the late 90s, this is where I was introduced to jazz, like, and blues, and I think jazz and blues was the kind of music that I did not hear, and it was sort of like, because I don't think that they were played in the house. And there was like a whole range of singers that I didn't know about. And I think the jazz and the blues and the gospel was music that I really didn't hear, even though it was out, way out, before I was even born. Like, and so here is where the late 90s into the 2000s that I get introduced to jazz and blues and 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 more gospel. I mean, it was a lot of gospel singers that I didn't particularly know at the time or whatever. And here is where I was like, well, why didn't I hear about these, fantastic singers? I mean, like, again, I think it was because it was just not played in the house. And I think it was, a part of it was that it was not listened to, so therefore it wasn't, I didn't know about it because it was not played. I remember listening to Billie Holiday. Billie Holiday. Billie Holiday, Sarah Vaughan, Nancy Wilson, and who else? Jimmy Scott. And here's a Donna Washington, and here is a whole like generation of singers that was out way even before I was born, that I didn't hear about. Like, and this is where I was like, and I was like, these fantastic singers, like, that I didn't know anything about, because because I was like R&B, pop, rock, and stuff. And here is a whole generation of stuff that, when it came to jazz and blues, that I was, and gospel, and some gospel, that I wasn't introduced to. Like, I didn't know anything about. And so I think when Billie Holiday, I ran into something with Billie Holiday, I really didn't know anything. I think I heard of Billie Holiday, but not really. I think the only song I probably heard with Billie Holiday was "God Bless the Child." They got it on that one. But I didn't really hear Billie Holiday in the early years and stuff, and it wasn't until later in the 2000s or whatever that I heard Billie Holiday, and I was like, what a voice that she had. I remember seeing a Billie Holiday story in the early 80s when Diana Ross did it. I remember seeing her story, but I don't think I really heard Billie Holiday songs. And only one I think I heard probably was "God Bless the Child." They got us on that one. And later I began to hear Billie Holiday. What a great singer. Um, Even though the stuff that she went through and stuff like that in her life, but she still sang a lot of great songs. And my favorite Billie Holiday song is "Autumn in New York." Autumn in New York, why does it seem so inviting? You know, like that. "Autumn in New York." That's my favorite Billie Holiday song. I like "Ill Wind" and "Detour Up Ahead." She did, you know, um, you know, like that. Like that voice that Billie Holiday had a certain type of voice. It wasn't Richie, but it was it was it had a slight sound to it. It wasn't a Richie voice, but it had a slight sound to it. And I was like, it was different. It definitely was different. And I think she, had her own sound, like, and she certainly sang a lot of good songs, and stuff like that. So kudos to Billie Holiday. Um, Sarah Vaughan. I remember getting this tape of hers. It had Billie Holiday, Sarah Vaughan, and Donna Washington in it. And it had a couple of blues singers in it. I think it had Peggy Lee in there too. And I remember singing Sarah Vaughan. And I remember seeing this tape, and she came out and she opened her mouth. I was like, oh my God, where did she come from? Where did she get that voice from? And I never heard anything like that. I heard anything like that from a black person, but I heard the other person that sound close to her were opera singers. And to me, I think opera singers are the best singers. Not the best songs, but the best singers, because they can do whatever they want with a note and stuff, like, and hit high notes and all this sort of stuff. But when I seen Sarah, I was like, oh my God. Listen to that voice. And she, like, I couldn't believe it. that type of voice was coming out of her mouth. And she was the one that I clung to, like, when it came to, like, to teach me how to sing. I mean, like, because she had she can sing notes, and she had this wind power that I mean, she can hold the note. I mean, like she can hold the note for a really long time, and she can go up and down with effort. Like, it wasn't a job for her to do it. I mean, she can just do it just so freely, and she can go up, she can go high, and then she can go way down into the belly, and to her belly, low as she could go, and come right back up, without any effort. Like, and I was like, listen, look at this. I mean, I couldn't believe it. The way that she sang, I was like, I couldn't believe it, man. And she, again, hearing a voice like that coming from a black person, I never heard anything like it. And again, the closest thing was to her was opera singers, and most of them. Leontine Price was African American, but I really didn't know her. I didn't really know her, but the other closest person to her was the other opera singers, which was white. Those are the ones that I heard. I didn't really hear Leontine Price. I think I did hear her later, but she was the closest. They were the closest to Sarah, and Sarah. What Sarah did with it, with art, I mean, because she sounded like an opera singer, she had to change. I think she had to change. She had to tone that opera down. She still sing like an opera singer, but she had to tone some of it down to sing jazz, to sing pop. If she wanted to sing a little blues or whatever, she could do that. But she had to tone it down just a little to sing those type music, because a lot of people didn't really accept it, Sarah, because of Sarah's sound, and the way that she could sing those notes, and again, not a lot of singers can sing those notes. And that's why it really surprised me with her, because I think the closest person that I saw that sing like Sarah, that other than opera singers, I think the closest people that I've heard, I think Olita Adams have that. I think Tina Marie has that. And it was another girl, I can't think of her name right now. I think she has it, and Stephanie Mills has that Richie sound, because that's what Sarah had. Sarah has a rich sound to her. It wasn't like slight sound. It was rich, and she can again, she can sing notes, and she can take a note and bend it any way that she wants, and she can go up high, and then she can go real low effortlessly. Like, and I really didn't hear a lot of singers or heard anybody like Sarah. Again, except for opera. And so Tina Marie had it. Alita Adams. It wasn't like I heard it from a lot of R&B singers. I didn't hear that type of voice from R&B singers. I did not. R&B soul singers. I did not hear that from them. That type of voice that Sarah had, I didn't hear any of that from them. So that's why when I saw Sarah and I heard her sing, it was different, way different. And she was fantastic, man. I never heard anything like it. And I tried to. I think she was a good teacher for me because I can sing those notes now. At first, I was afraid of singing Sarah because Sarah would leave you in the dust. If there was a song, I would try to sing along with Sarah, and if at first when I first heard Sarah and I tried to sing along with her, I couldn't keep up because she was singing notes for one, and she had that wind power. She could hold notes and all that stuff. And if you're not prepared, she will leave you in the dust and embarrass you. If you're trying to sing along with her, and if you don't know what you're doing, she will embarrass you. Because you can't keep up, you can't sing notes. You can't. You doesn't have the wind power. And I remember Billy Eckstine talk about that people try to sing Sarah and they can't get out, and that's what it was. I would go and try to sing with her, and Sarah would leave me in the dust and embarrass me, and that's what he was saying. When they try to go and sing Sarah, they can't sing her because they can't keep up with her when it came to the notes or the wind power. And she will leave you in the dust and embarrass you. And that's what she did at first. What happened was I took and put her on a shelf at first. I was like, I can't keep up with her, and one day I just heard this small voice say, "Get Sarah off the shelf." I said, "Get Sarah off the shelf." Because I did. I put her up on the shelf. I refused to sing her songs. Try to sing her song. And someone said, I heard this small voice said, "Get Sarah off the shelf." And I was saying, "Get off the shelf." He said, that small voice said, "Sing Sarah. Sing it. I don't care how it comes out. Continue to sing her." And then doing that, I figured out how Sarah did it, how she sang, and so I started singing her song, and stuff like that, and Misty, remember Misty? I think that was her favorite. I think that was the one, the song that everybody liked Sarah to sing. Misty, I get to miss and too much. Love. I mean, singing those notes with Sarah. And then she did a song called Maria. Maria, Maria, Maria. I mean, like, you know, like that. And then the more I see you, the more I see you. I mean, like, you know, and singing her, you know, I was like, yes, you know. But I had to practice because I had to really listen to Sarah, and I had to, you know, sing along with her to even keep up. Because God was like, I believe it was God saying, get Sarah off the shelf. You put her up there, take her off, and start singing her. You know, and stuff like that. And I did it, and I found out how Sarah did it. But again, Sarah is not easy to sing. Sarah make you work when you sing her songs. If you want to sing, not sound like Sarah, not sound like her, but if you want to sing the notes that Sarah sang, and if you wanted to get help with the wind power thing, she will help you with that too. But again, you know, I had to really like listen to her, see how she did it, and then I start doing it. But it was amazing to hear her and to do it. And it was you know, I thought again, I thought I couldn't do it, but as I really listened to Sarah and seeing how Sarah did it, I began to do it. But I think it was the help of God, because God was like, get Sarah off the shelf. You know, like that, and I did, and I learned how to sing Sarah, without, you know, but it isn't easy to, it wasn't easy to sing Sarah at first. Sarah make you work. I mean, when it comes to the voice, she make you work, man. To keep up with her, again, if you doesn't keep up with her, she'll leave you in the dust and embarrass you as a singer. She will embarrass you. And you know, and I didn't like being embarrassed when I sang her. That's not a good feeling. To be embarrassed, you know, like that. It wasn't a good feeling. But I think that, you know, that what made me, like, you know, say, okay, you know, just work at it. Listen, continue to listen to Sarah. Listen to her. And see how she did it. You know, when sunny gets blue. I mean, like she dragged those notes out because she got the wind power, and she make you work. You know, like that. So you know, but when I heard Billy Eckstine say, a lot of people try to sing Sarah, and they can't get out. Like what he meant was, when I first did it, try to sing Sarah, and I couldn't keep up. What he meant was, people can't, they started to sing Sarah and stuff like that, and they can't keep up with her. and they can't keep up. They can't sing the notes. They can't. They can't. They doesn't have the wind power that Sarah has, and they try to sing at, and what he meant is that they can't get out, meaning they can't sing at, and stuff like that, because I was one in the beginning, because I couldn't, sing it. So when he said that, I was like, he's right. He's right. If you don't know what the fuck you doing, she'll leave you in the dust, and she will embarrass you as a singer. I mean, it is that wasn't it wasn't like her intention to do that. But if you're going to sing her, you better know you better know what you're doing before you go up in there and you think you can just go and sing her songs and just go in there and just sing. You're in for a rude awakening. But again, she will embarrass you if you don't know what the fuck you're doing. And it wasn't like her intention to do that, but hey, if you want to sing her, you better know how to sing her. Instead of just thinking you're going to just sing along with her, just put a record on and sing her. It ain't that easy. It ain't that easy. And again, I think Sarah taught me how to sing notes, and to to get some wind power, because I don't think I had it in the beginning. I don't think I had the wind power. And she, I don't think that she, again, I don't think that Sarah got the popularity that she did. I think she was popular, but I don't think that she was, she didn't sell like Ella, and some other people, and shit like that. But she certainly had the best voice, though. Like to me, do I think that she sounds better than Ella? Yes. But when it comes to the sell up, I think people went with Ella. Now, does Ella have a great voice? Yes. Yes, because I like Ella too. But I like the both of them. And because Ella can sing too. But I think Sarah was the one that was different. I think she was different than any other black person I heard. Any black person that I heard, Sarah was different. So she was like my teacher, and so was Ella, and Natalie Cole, and all the singers. It didn't matter who they were. I think they all. But I think with Sarah, it was different. She helped me sing notes, and she helped me with the wind power thing. I don't think any of the other singers. I think the other singers helped me sing songs. I think the other singers helped me sing songs. But I think Sarah helped me with notes, and she helped me with the wind power thing. Ella was a great singer too. I heard her, and so, heard her. She was great too. Dinah Washington. When I heard Dinah Washington had a different type voice. I think Dinah Washington had a different type voice. blues, jazz blues, um, um, you know, and I I really like Dinah Washington because Dinah Washington had a different type of voice to her. She had a different voice, different sound to her, a different sound to her. But she certainly can sing, man. And I think, when I first heard Dinah Washington sing, I mean, she sang what a difference a day made. 24 little hours. Like that. I think she sang A Cottage for Sale. I like that. Unforgettable. That's what you are. I mean, she just comes out with it. And what a great voice Donna Washington had. A different sound to it, but a great voice. She had a different sound to her, but great. She sang a lot of good songs, man. You know, and when I play her or whatever, she is something, man. But what Dinah Washington can do, she can take anybody's song and make it her own, and make it great too. You can take anybody else's song, like Unforgettable. No offense to Nat King Cole, because he did a great job with that. But when you hear Dinah Washington sing Unforgettable, I mean, she just took it to another level, like. And she can take other people's songs and make it her own, man. Dinah Washington. And usually that don't sometimes be a good thing, because usually the first person that sings it is probably sometimes is the best, but that don't always be that way though. But Dinah Washington can take anybody's song. She can sing her song, but she can go and get other people's song and sing it just as good. Like, and and I like Dinah Washington, man. She had a different sound to her, man. Yeah, and she, Dinah Washington had a certain sound to her voice that was great, man. And she can sing just about anything, man. She can sing the book if you let her. Let me go to bed. Let me see. Yeah, she can sing the book, man, if you let her. You know. And you know, and but again, I was introduced. It's like these singers that that I never even heard before. And they were out before all this R&B stuff and pop and all, but you didn't hear about them. Nancy Wilson. Oh, Nancy Wilson was one. I think she was different in her own way. I just remember hearing her, and I started listening to it, and I heard a couple of songs that I did hear in the 80s or something like that, but I did not know that was Nancy Wilson. And I started singing her songs. I think she was very unique, I think, in a way, because she had her own show when she was 15 years old. And in the town that she lived in, she had her own show when she was 15. And stuff like that. And I was like, man, that was unique, because I didn't hear people, that had their own show as singers, and how she been out there for years and years and years. She said, I did not do like singles, I did whole albums. In her career, she did about 50 something albums, and none of them was like, just like singles. No, they were whole albums. She did whole albums. And she had a different sound to her. She did have a different sound to her. And she, I remember, singing, started singing me some of her songs. And, and I think one I start singing was what's that one, it was a song that she did that was very popular to the fans. You're so late getting home from the office. Did you miss your train? Were you caught in the rain? No, don't bother to explain. Guess who I saw today? That one. And the fans love it. And she sang that song, and she said she couldn't go nowhere without singing that song, because the fan loved it, as they showed me to a dark, secluded corner, and as my eyes became accustomed to the gloom, I saw two people at the bar who were so in love. Even I could spot it clear across the room. Guess who I saw today, my dear? I've never been so shocked before. I mean, she just come out with it, man. But I think that she did that. Guess who I saw today? I think she did Fly Me to the Moon. Fly me to the moon. Let me play among the stars. I mean, she did that one. Don't Come Running Back to Me. Let me see who Nancy Wilson songs, man. I think she was different, but again, Nancy Wilson been out there for so many years. and you know, and she continued to be out there for a lot of years. I was surprised that she did albums. She did albums. She didn't do singles. Like, she did albums, all albums. No, like, some people can just put out singles, but no, she did whole albums, and 50 something albums, whole albums, not singles, whole albums, and stuff like that. I think that was, I mean, you know, because I don't know nobody that has that many albums out. I mean, it probably, you know, if you know, maybe Elvis or I don't know, Barbra Streisand. I don't know, but again, I think she was you know, having her show since she was 15. Man, that was, you know, that was unheard of. I mean, like, you know, but you know, she continued to sing, you know, until she passed. But again, I was like, you know, I remember singing some of her songs, and and you know, again, let me see who else was there. Again, Ella was different. Great voice, Ella. Oh man, Ella Fitzgerald, great voice. You know, and you know, who else? And that, and to jazz or blues that you didn't hear. I mentioned Billie Holiday, Ella, Sarah, Billie Holiday, Ella Fitzgerald, Sarah Vaughan, Donna Washington, and Nancy Wilson. Those five, I didn't hear them growing up or anything like that, and I didn't see them later. But what great voices that they have! You know, what great singers that a lot of singers probably never even heard before. Let me look at little Jimmy Scott. I remember when I first heard Jimmy Scott, I thought he was a woman. And it was not no disrespect to him, but it was just that. I mean, he did sound like a woman, because I think he according to, he was born with a hormone deficiency, like, and he could sing loud, but his voice sound more like a woman voice than a man's voice. And because I thought at first he was a woman. I remember when I seen Nancy Wilson and Jimmy Scott. Well, I didn't see Jimmy Scott on I seen Nancy Wilson on the Cosby Show. But I first heard Jimmy Scott on the Cosby Show. He played that for his wife, and I was like, man, what a great voice, and he sounded like a woman, but his name was Jimmy Scott, and I was like, man, you know, what a great voice, you know, and so I remember, like, hearing An Evening in Paradise, he sang on the Cosby. I mean, they put a record on, and he sang An Evening in Paradise by little Jimmy Scott. And I was like, man, what a great voice, you know. And one day, I was like, man, I want to, see, him, see what else did little Jimmy Scott sing or whatever, and stuff. They say that falling in love, it's wonderful, wonderful. I mean, like, he just comes out with it. I mean, he had a great, great voice, little Jimmy Scott. Even though it sounded like a woman's voice, he still had a great voice. He did an Evening in Paradise. He sang that song, man. I was like, sheesh. And Evening in Paradise, oh, jeez. And then he sang a lot of other songs too, like that. But what a great voice, Jimmy Scott, little Jimmy Scott had. Man, I just remember hearing him on the Cosby Show, man, and then hearing him later, man, and, was something, man. It really was, and what a great, great voice he had. And but I remember seeing his story and stuff like that, but what a great, great singer little Jimmy Scott was. And and again, I listened to them all, just to hear them, even see how they sang and stuff like that, and you can always learn from any singer. You can learn from any singer, but I think that some of them are can really, really sing, man. Yeah, but little Jimmy Scott, yeah, was something, man. That voice, man. And it was something, man, when I heard him, man. It was something, man. Who else? And I went through them because the jazz and the jazz singers and stuff like that was sort of like left out, left out when I was growing up. Usually you probably would hear that, but I did not. There was a whole generation of jazz singers and blues and stuff like that I never even heard before. And jazz came way before. Jazz was probably out, and blues were out before all this pop and R&B and all that stuff. And when I was growing up, I didn't hear Jimmy Scott and Dinah Washington and Nancy Wilson, Sarah and Ella. I didn't hear any of that. It was like a whole generation of singers left out, But I think I was like, hey, there's a whole gold mine here. That was of singers, man, that was left out. I mean, they wasn't left out. They were only left out, and I'm quite sure other people probably heard them. I just didn't hear them early on. Not early on, because it wasn't like played. They were not like played in the house. It was like more so R&B, gospel, gospel. I heard gospel growing up in many different ways or whatever. but I think that it wasn't like I think the older I didn't Mahalia Jackson I did you know I didn't really hear Mahalia early in the early on whatever it wasn't until later that I heard her and Shirley Caesar, the more up to date singers, Kirk Franklin, Yolanda Adams, and stuff like that, and other singers as well, that I didn't really hear them until later. But but they got great songs and stuff like that, gospel songs and stuff like that. And but I think all again R&B. When I think about Tina Marie, Natalie Cole, Stephanie Mills, Anita Baker. I don't forget about. I remember when Anita Baker first came out. She came out in the '80s. I remember hearing her. I remember. I don't remember seeing. I mean, I think I don't remember. I think I do remember seeing Anita Baker when she did her videos, "Sweet Love" and all those videos, and "No One in the World" and all that. But I think that Anita Baker was I think that when she came on the scene, she opened up the door to a different type of R&B when she came out, and and she did it her way, and she came out with a string of hits, man, and stuff like that. And Anita Baker was different, than anybody before her. I think with the R&B, she was different, and she had her own style and stuff like that, And I like Anita Baker. Got the sun in the morning, got the moon at night. I mean, and she, she did it her way, man. And if I would go with the best songs, probably that's out there, the best songs, she will be one. With the ones that have the string of good songs, she be one. Anita Baker will be one. Aretha, the Isley Brothers, Sade, let's talk about her. Anita, wait a minute, let me finish talking about Anita Baker. Anita Baker, man, she was different. I think she did it in her own way. And she, I did not know, I think in the beginning, I had seen her, but I didn't really know. I didn't follow her career or anything like that, so I really didn't know what Anita Baker amounted to. Like, you know, um, I knew she had did a lot of. I knew I had heard some of her songs and stuff like that, but I really didn't know what I mean, like how her career went or anything like that, until I think I had years later. I was like, let me get the very best of Anita Baker or something like that. And that's when I heard her songs. I mean, for the ones I didn't hear, and I was like, man, she continued, she continued singing, because I didn't know what she you know, I didn't follow her career or anything like that, but she was very successful. And I remember seeing her. She had left the business for 10 years, and she, you know, take care of some private stuff or whatever. And she came when she came back. Those fans were still there. Those faithful fans were still there. She had faithful fans that were still there for her. After leaving for 10 years, that's unusual. I mean, usually they say bye bye, you know, but not them. But I think because Anita Baker laid the she before she left, she had these string of hits before she left, and I think that that was the key, you know, because she had those string of hits before she left, and when she came back, those fans were right there, and she said she remembered she didn't really know how the fans was going to accept her because she had been, you know, she had gained weight. She, you know, she had, you know, she wasn't there for 10 years. She had left for 10 years. And she had gained weight, and she was, and, you know, she didn't look the same way that when she left, you know, like that. But they didn't care about that. They did not care about that. And she said when she came out on stage, they started singing her song to her. Like when the music started playing and she came out on stage, they started. She didn't have to sing. They sang for her. They sang for her, man. They were singing to her, man. And the faithful fans, man. But I know that she had to feel good about that, man. But I think Anita Baker, she made those string of hits before she left, and they were right there when she came back. They were right there. They did not forget her, like, and they were right there, man. And for a person to do that, you're lucky your fans are still there. I mean, after being gone for 10 years, you're lucky the fans were still there when you got back. And they were right there for her. You know, like that. I think Tina Marie did the same thing. And they were right there, man. Tina Marie is another one, man. She was gone for 10 years, too. And those faithful fans were right there. They didn't care, man. When you lay the groundwork, man, if they really, really love you, man, they be right there, man. They don't, you know, they didn't care if they were gone for 10 years. They were right there, man. And, you know, Phyllis Hyman, what a great somewhere in my lifetime. You know, Phyllis Hyman, man. Phyllis Hyman was one. I remember hearing her a couple of songs in the 70s, 80s, even 90s probably. By the time that I didn't really have the time to catch up with her, man. Like, because I think I really didn't have time to catch up with Phyllis Hyman. I heard Phyllis Hyman in the 70s, 80s period, maybe even 90s, but I didn't have a chance to see her later. Like, I didn't have that chance. Like, a lot of them I saw, like, if I saw them early on, and then I would see them later. But she was one that I didn't see later. Like, you know, I know that she committed suicide, and but did she have a great voice? Oh yes, Phyllis Hyman. Oh, what a great voice Phyllis Hyman had. Um, and she, you know, what a great voice. Um, and but I did, you know, again, I heard it early on, but for some reason, man, she was one that I didn't see later because, because of what happened to her or whatever. But what a great voice, man. She had a great voice. Um, Stephanie Mills, same thing. I think Stephanie Mills has, to me, I think Stephanie Mills has a great voice. But again, it seemed like the ones that had the great voices has the lesser hits, and the ones that have the lesser voice has more hits. And I don't know why it's like that, but it is. Um, but I think Stephanie Mills has a great voice, man. You know, but she's still out there singing, and so is Shaka Khan. Shaka Khan, I remember hearing her in the 80s and 90s. Hearing Shaka Khan songs. I did see her later as well as um, other singers and stuff like that. And she's still out there singing and stuff like that. Shaka Khan, Stephanie Mills still out there singing as well. And stuff like that. But I think that they do have their own style. I think they have their own style, and that I think that makes it all better. Like, because if you have everybody singing like each other or sounding like each other, it wouldn't be. But I think they have their own sound. If you have your own sound, that's even better. You know. But and if I talk about, let me see, Ron Isley, the Isley Brothers. Oh man, what great songs they have. Ron Isley is still out there singing and stuff like that. Lionel Richie, same thing. He left the Commodores and went solo and sang pop songs now, and stuff like that. So, he's one of my favorites. Luther Vandross, Luther. Let's talk about Luther. Luther Vandross, man. When Luther came on, I really didn't. I remember when he first came on the scene or whatever, but then later I realized that this guy can really sing, man. And you know, um, you know, and what great songs he can sing, and he was like one of the singing his brothers, man. You know, males that came, you know. I imagine that Luther probably came in the 80s, you know, and thereafter, you know, but what a great voice Luther Vandross had. And I'd be like, dun 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 dun. Whoa, a chair, still a chair, even when there's no one sitting there. I mean, like, I mean, like, what a great voice. And you know, and he's one of my favorites. Nat King Cole, same thing. Crooners, man, crooners. You know, when I think about crooners, I look at Nat King Cole, Luther, you know, because what great voice. They have like romantic voices, like, yeah, and like great voices, man. You know, Lionel Richie in his own way, you know, but Ryan Isley, the Isley brothers, oh jeez, all those records they sung. Ooh, the Isley brothers, oh wow, man, you talking about a catalog. They um let me see, you can go with you know, Dionne Warwick, you know. What's it all about? Alfie, man. Alfie is my favorite. You know. But again, Dionne Warwick, Denise Williams. It's gonna take a miracle to make me love someone new. 'Cause I'm crazy for you. Yeah. No, I can't forget about you. I mean, Denise Williams, oh, great voice. Great voice. I think she went gospel at some point, you know, later. She went gospel. And she still got that great voice, man. Who else? Of course, Sade. Ah, jeez. Sade, great songs. I think when I heard Sade talk, she's Brazilian. She talked like a Brazilian, but she doesn't sing like that though. She doesn't sing like a Brazilian. And I was like, wait a minute. She talked like, you know, the Brazilian that she is, but she doesn't sing like that. Is it a crime that I still want you, and I want you to want me too? It doesn't jump. And it ripples long the deep ocean. I'm trying to stifle myself to keep from hollering out. I stifled it, but I mean stifled the singing because I didn't want to sing loud. But is it a crime? Sade songs, man. Nothing can come between us. Is it a crime? Sweetest Taboo. It's great. She the one that got the great. If I were to pick people who got a string of songs, she would be one. Along with Anita Baker, Aretha, you know, the Isley Brothers, Luther, you know, great songs. Sade. Even though she's Brazilian, I still like Sade. Uh, um, you know, and who else? I'm quite sure there's more women out there, but those are the ones that I picked out to. The white females. Again, Tina Marie. I like I like Karen Carpenter. Um, Barbara Streisand, Bonnie Raitt. Um, you know, you know, and Patsy Cline. Those country singers and you know, regular pop singers. Connie Francis, great voices, man. They had great voices. You know, and yeah, and Elvis and Hall and Oates, man. You know, it's a string of them out there that you know that I like. You know, but I was never prejudiced or anything like that. I like them all. I didn't grow up with the race problem and all that crappy stuff. But and because it was like a melting pot. You had everybody around, like Hispanic, Chinese, black, white, you name it, man. It was race. I don't know where people come with that race stuff, man. But it was never like that, you know, with me or any, you know. But people come with that race stuff, man. The racism problem. That type of stuff. I didn't grow up with that. You know, because we had all different type races. We didn't grow up with that, with the racism problem. Even though it was outside of my neighborhood or whatever, but I didn't grow up with that. Even though it still existed outside of my neighborhood and stuff. I never was the type of person that was racist. No, I didn't go up with that crappy stuff. But again, you can, like, it's not just with singing. It's outside of singing. You know, it was like, you know, you cared about other people, man, and not, you know, have that race problem, or you can't be a part of this because you're black, you're white, this that. Come on, man. Anybody grow up with that stuff, man. I didn't grow up with that. Um, but I think all the singers that I heard and saw and stuff. Rod Stewart. I like Rod Stewart. I like Rod Stewart. I like some of Michael Bolton songs. Elton John. I like some of his songs. but again, I like I sort of, I mean, because I think everybody brings something new to the table. I think they bring their own style. You know, they bring their own style to the table. You know, like that. You know, and it's Michael Jackson. You know, he brought his own style. Like Tracy Chapman. I like her. Tracy Chapman. I don't know. I know. You know, I wonder, because I had seen something that she sang folk music. I don't know if that's folk music, is it? But again, I like Tracy Chapman songs too. even though Tracy Chapman is different, I think she's different. She brings something new to the table. You know, I like people who are different. Janis Joplin, new man. She brought something new to the table. You know, Janis Joplin was different. She was different, and she grew up different and stuff like that. But she brought something new to the table. Like she was different. I like people who are different, cause they really bring something new. They ain't gotta be like everybody else. They can just be themselves, like and stuff like that. And I, you know, regardless of what went on in their personal lives or whatever, you know, because people do go through stuff and this, that, and the other, and all this sort of stuff. But what she brought to the table as far as her music and stuff, it was different. It was different. And stuff like that. You know, who else? It's probably a whole lot of other people I can name. You know, that really, I think Barbara Streisand, I remember her saying that the lady that, I mean, I remember her saying in an interview one time that a lady rejected her. Like, you know, as far as her music was concerned, didn't really like Barbara Streisand. And look what Barbara Streisand became. You know, and shit like that, man. I mean, people, you know, and I heard the stories about quite a few of them that were rejected at first. And then somewhere down the road, someone else get them. And look how, and they blew up like a balloon, like. And someone else gets a hold of them. And they blows up like a balloon. I mean, they're fame and fortune. When they were first, I remember Ella, Luther, Barbara Streisand, Ella, Luther, same thing. They were rejected, man. Sissy Houston, Whitney Houston's mother, same thing. Someone else, they saw Ella, and they said, no, I don't want, no, I don't want you. And then when Ella opened her mouth and started saying, hey, wait a minute, I think I do want you. You know, like that. And one day, Sissy Houston, they wanted Dionne Warwick, because Dionne Warwick is Sissy Houston's, Whitney Houston's mother. Whitney Houston's mother, Sissy Houston, is Dionne Warwick's aunt. Whitney Houston's mother is Dionne Warwick's aunt. And I remember one day hearing Sissy Houston's story. Whitney